I need to show you something. Today, we are answering the question, what is it like to live in the Seymour area? I actually live exactly in the Seymour area. I've done multiple videos about this. Check out the map tour, check out the driving tour, check out, I think I have like a top 5 something you need to know about Seymour, etc. This is literally answering the question with facts and data to back it up, not just my opinions or whatever. What is it like to live in Seymour? We're gonna talk about demographics briefly. That'll be a whole, because we could talk about that for hours. We're gonna talk about things like walkability, jobs, all of that. We're gonna talk about some specific things when it comes to real estate. We're going to talk about schools in the Seymour area, and we're gonna round it out with a little conversation with my husband asking his opinion on things about Seymour and life in Seymour. So that being said, let's get started. Okay, I want to say, first of all, that before we even get into it, data sources. RPR, which is the Realtors Property Resource, LLC. So they have a ton of data. I pulled from that. I pulled from AARP for the Livability scores and rankings. I pulled from the East Tennessee Realtors Multiple Listing Service. So that is where agents go and list. So when I'm talking about some of the listing stats, for example, what percentages of homes have mountain views, I pulled from that. So that being said, also I have Shay, my husband. He's a local expert, but the picture I provided of him that you're looking at, he's not even gonna watch this video, so he doesn't even know that's the picture I used. And I could have even used a more words or one, but I decided, you know what, today I'm gonna be nice. But that picture is still entertaining. We were actually at Snowshoe, and he had a mustache at the time, which I was not a fan of. Anyways, let's get going. So, what is Seymour? Where is it? Broadly speaking, Seymour is a kind of suburb of Knoxville. It sits in what I say is a triangle. So if you think of a triangle here, here's 1 point, 2 point, 3 point. See it? The triangle. Essentially, you've got Knoxville, Maryville, and you've got Sevierville, and I think it's reversed. You know what I'm saying? Look at the map I provided. Seymour kind of sits right in the middle, which means, for example, where I live in Seymour, I'm about 20 minutes to downtown, I'm about 20 minutes to Sevierville, and I'm about 20 minutes to Maryville, which is awesome. That also means that I'm convenient to both the Tennessee River and Douglas Lake. I'm convenient to the mountains. My mom lives in West Knox. I can get to her house in about 35 minutes. She lives off the Cedar Bluff Walker Springs exit. So if you know what I'm talking about, or you want to go look at a map, check that out. My sister lives in Talbot. I'm about 45 minutes-ish from her. So, I mean, we have good friends on Douglas, and literally from Douglas Lake, we're about 30 minutes to their house. So that being said, got a friend in Maryville, 30 minutes to her house. So yeah, very convenient. Just want to point that out in terms of location when you think about it. I will also say, and I touch on this when Shay and I are talking, but I grew up in Knoxville, had never even heard of Seymour until like he brought me here. He's from South Knox, and you'll see his reaction whenever I say, did you know about Seymour? I had no idea, had never even heard of it. Even now, like when I talk about it, people are like, where is that? Exactly. So it's definitely smaller in the scale of places. The other thing that's interesting about Seymour, and if you've seen my other Seymour videos, you know this, Seymour is a culmination of essentially 3 counties, Knox, Blount, and Sevier. So for example, the school districts, the high school zoning, as an example, high school, middle, and elementary are zoned between Sevier County and Blount County. Knox County is its own, like, there's people that live in 37920 towards Seymour that would consider themselves to be living in Seymour, although technically it's still Knox County, and their addresses are Knoxville. 37865 is the zip code for Seymour, and that's going to include Sevier County and Blount County addresses, even though you've got Knox County. Literally, I could walk to the Knox County line. Like, I'm looking out my office window as we speak, and the sign for Knox County is about 10 feet past, like, where I can see. So, yeah, all the culmination of 3 counties. So, that is just, like, basic, cut and dry quick and dirty. So I'm gonna do brief general demographics. I will do a separate video that is specific to demographics, people here, education levels, work, etc. So in general, population is about 25,000 people. We are primarily white, 94% white. 36% of people are above the age of 50 and 16% are above the age of 65. I was actually surprised by that. I feel like we actually have an older population than that. Percentage of the population with a vehicle, 99% of people in Seymour have a vehicle. What does that tell you? So those are just some kind of general demographics. The other thing I wanted to say again about age. So in terms of your biggest piece of the pie, check out the circle graph I have provided. You see that the largest age range is 35 to 54, which is interesting because my husband and I both fit in that range, 35 to 54, even though we're 10 years apart. That being said, 35 to 54, if you didn't know that, that'd be sad. Why do I even feel the need to point it out? I'm just saying. Okay, so second largest age group is 55 to 64. So 35 to 64 is more than 50% of total population within the Seymour area. So let's talk about AARP's livability score. So we're gonna go through some data specifically from AARP so we have some sort of data point and it's not all just like my opinion. I wanted to provide you with some facts and figures that you could think about as you are learning about Seymour. So AARP has a livability score and they pull from all kinds of data sources like the US Census, they pull from housing stats, they pull from all kinds of sources, and also they pull from policy information. I did not include policy information because some of it wasn't accurate. For example, they were talking about smoking laws and how Tennessee doesn't have any smoking laws. Well, actually there are laws about that. So I didn't pull some of the policy stuff because I think it's either outdated or whatever. So we're gonna take these stats as generalities. Some of them I think are a little bit harsh and I'll point that out as I go. So overall livability is a 49. If you just want to compare, for example, if you're thinking Seymour versus West Knox livability score, I've recently did a video on Farragut as an example, and their livability score is a 54. So AARP says overall livability in West Knox is slightly above average. It's above average, whereas Seymour has a score of 49. They're saying below average because that 50 is the average, right? So anyways, that being said, overall score of 49, and here's what went into that. So in the category of housing, Seymour scores a 50. So you can see from the data that overall there's some things getting better and some things getting worse. Availability of multifamily housing getting better. Housing costs getting worse. It is certainly getting more expensive in the East Tennessee area, especially post-COVID. We have a ton of people relocating here and we have low inventory. So check out the 2023 Knox area market stats because that's going to give you a broader view of what's happening in the real estate market at like a broader level just beyond, other than just Seymour. Housing cost burden, 17% of income spent on housing in 2015 versus, I think this is good, 15.1% of income spent on housing in 2023. Now, that's an interesting stat because 2015 mortgage rates versus 2023 mortgage rates. Well, what happened in 2021? A ton of people refinanced. I'm thinking that there's a reason why we see this more affordability when it comes to the housing cost burden is because a lot of people refinance. That is my guess. That is not written here, but I just want to say it's not because it's not because prices are decreasing. It's because a lot of people got a more affordable mortgage payment when we were seeing lower rates. So housing right in the middle. When it comes to availability of multifamily housing, it's saying it's better. I don't know necessarily if that's better or not. I'm trying to think what exactly they are talking about. All right, neighborhood. This is the keywords here that AARP is using: proximity and security. They have given Seymour an overall score of 35. This is one that I think is personal experience, not database versus their data. I somewhat disagree with this, or I just disagree with it altogether. Okay, access to parks. It's saying no change. Well, I mean, there is a park I can think about in Seymour, and it's at the Seymour First Baptist Church. You're certainly going to go somewhere else for a park. So that's not great. I will say that. Access to libraries. It says there's 0 libraries. That's not true. See, there is a Seymour library that I am a member of, and they actually just renovated it, and it's like 3 times larger, super nice library. And also the librarian has called me before and reminded me to renew my library card. So Seymour Library, I think, is awesome. I should probably actually go there more, hang out there more. So I disagree with that stat. Access to jobs by transit. There is no public transit in Seymour. There's no like public buses, none of that. And part of that you have to remember is it's at the intersection of these 3 counties, right? Diversity of destinations, it says that has gone down. I disagree with that because we continue to see development. We continue to see more and more stuff being built in the East Tennessee area, and we are central to all of those things. When I say that, I mean we are central to development happening in downtown Sevierville. We are super close to what's happening in Knoxville, so I disagree with that as well. Activity density, I don't think it says that this is getting better. If you compare 2015 to 2023, and it's talking about jobs and people per square mile. That's an interesting stat because I can't tell if it's talking about more people relocating or whatever, but I disagree with that one as well. Crime rate, it's saying that that has gotten worse. No, it's getting better. See, okay, I'm looking at this now. 2015, the stat is 454 crimes per 10,000 people versus the 2023 stat is 317 crimes per 10,000 people. That's a lot better, I think. U.S. median is 201, so that's still higher than what's happening in the U.S. overall. Let's see, vacancy rate, 9.3% of units are vacant. I think that's interesting because when it comes to rentals overall in the Knoxville area, it's like 98% rented. So anyways, that is a little bit of neighborhood data. The stat about crime getting better, I wouldn't consider Seymour, from my personal experience, as a place you would think there's a lot of crime going on. So people ask me that often about crime. Am I scared? And there's nowhere area where I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm scared. You know what I mean? So when it comes to that, my personal, I feel like I need to be careful here not to like point out or whatever, say things, but I don't ever feel unsafe, especially in the Seymour area. But also, like, you're always in a car. You know what I mean? Like, Chapman Highway is sketchy, but that's like the road, not the people, you know? Transportation, right on time. This says transportation has a overall score of 47. There's not a ton of data on the 2015 value, so you're seeing that there's no change on this. I want to absolutely say that there is no walkability here. I'm going to show you a different thing. AARP says 5.12 trips per household per day. Is that to the mailbox? I mean, there's not walkability in Seymour. I'm not even trying to be funny. It's not walkable. I don't think any part of Knoxville is walkable unless you are living in downtown Knoxville, or you're at North Shore Town Center, or you are on Sevier Avenue. Very specific small places are walkable and even bikeable. I have recently had a client ask, like, if their daughter doesn't drive, but he was like, well, she doesn't want to drive, but we thought like she could be on a scooter. No. I think that's a bad idea, personally. Household transportation costs $16,000 per year. It's slightly less than what's happening on the national average. We are doing good on speed limits. 27.5 miles per hour. I think that's interesting. I think crashes, it says crash rate, 12.7 fatal crashes per 100,000 people per year. That's actually higher than the national average, and I do think what's interesting is it's saying our miles per hour are getting better, but it's saying our crash rate is, well, it's saying it's not changed, but there's no 2015 data on that. I'm just telling you, Chapman Highway is sketchy, and so is Alcoa Highway. So are parts of like some of these back roads we have. So, I mean, commuting wise, you gotta be confident. Okay, so then I wanted to also show you how many people, or how long are people commuting. So if you look at the graph I provided, average commute time is somewhere between 15 to 45 minutes. So over 70% of the Seymour population is commuting between 15 and 45 minutes every day. So just keep that in mind. If you're moving here, you're probably gonna be driving, you're gonna spend some time driving. And actually the shortest time is 15 minutes, but it's also one of the smaller, like 9.8% travel less than 15 minutes and 6% travel more than an hour. So somewhere between 15 to 45 minutes is 70% of the population in Seymour. That's how long they're driving to get to work. In my personal experience, I used to commute to Austin East High School. I've commuted to downtown Knoxville. I've commuted to Oak Ridge. Oak Ridge was a 45-minute drive on a good day. If I hit traffic, we're looking at more at an hour, one way or the other, especially in the afternoon. And I also commuted from Webb, and I always allowed for 45 minutes there as well. I commuted to Bearden High School also. So, and that, again, that's a 30-minute to 45, depending on did I leave early enough to hit the 30-minute. So anyways, definitely 30 to 45 minutes is my own experience. 70% of people here are somewhere between 15 and 45 minutes. How are people getting to work? Drive, carpool, motorcycle. That is the biggest percentage. And then the next is people working from home. It's saying 53 people walk to work. I don't know where they're walking. To their basement. Like maybe it's classified as an office. I'm just telling you, no one's walking. Public transit. I don't know what they're talking about there either, because that's not a thing. Bicycle. 0. 0 people. Okay, environment. This is where we scored one of the highest, 70. Drinking water quality. This has been improved compared to 2015. Regional air quality also has improved, which is something you would not consider because Knoxville and the Knoxville area gets a bad rap for air quality, for like pollen, etc. So yay for Seymour, that is awesome. So clean water and air is positive. Anyways, I think that is awesome. Health, 35. Okay, so things that have gotten worse. Obesity prevalence has gone down compared to 2015. Health professional shortages in the area, that is also said to have gone down. And then patient satisfaction has gone down. Now, obviously, a lot of things have happened between 2015 and 2023. I do want to point out to you that in terms of getting access to a major medical center, if you're curious about Seymour and you're thinking this might be somewhere I want to go, you're going to want to look at 3 different hospitals. University of Tennessee Medical Center is going to be the largest hospital and is going to be the most convenient for some parts of Seymour. For other parts of Seymour, closer to Sevier County, you're going to be looking at LeConte. And then for other parts of Seymour, closer to Maryville, you're going to be looking for Knox. So if you're on the Knoxville side of Seymour, you're going to be thinking University of Tennessee Medical Center just outside downtown Knoxville. If you're closer to Maryville, you're going to be thinking Butt Memorial. And if you are thinking, or if you are looking closer to Sevierville, you're probably thinking LeConte Medical Center. So there are some different hospitals. Those are going to be the 3 big ones. The closest VA hospital is going to be in Knoxville. So just some things to think about when it comes to access to medical care. Now, in the Seymour area, we do have University of Tennessee like after hours urgent care. There recently has been a small hospital that is it's in Knox County, but it's about 7 minutes from like the beginning of the technical Seymour line to get to. So that's some other things. There's also some like urgent clinics and smaller type hospitals in both Sevierville and Maryville. So there is access, but you're looking at about a 20-minute drive to a major hospital in most situations. Civic engagement. The only stat we really see here in comparison 2015 to 2023 is opportunity for civic involvement has gone down. I do think that it is interesting about this broadband cost and speed. As of 2023, for Seymour, it says 92.6% of residents have high-speed, competitively priced service. So now, this is 92.6%. And those 7.4 or whatever who don't have it, they don't have it. Like, no service. So, I mean, there's certain parts, like I could literally tell you where to go right now and you're gonna cross over the road and you're not gonna have service. And those are gonna be more rural, more mountainous, off of windy roads. You probably don't wanna work from home from there anyways, or you probably don't wanna be back there anyways because it's so inconvenient. Or maybe you do, you want to not have people be able to access you when you're at your house. So, but that being said, 92.6% of people have what is said to be high-speed, competitively priced service. I have a question about that, and I want to know, of those 92.6%, when they say high-speed, competitively priced, are they including satellite internet? Satellite internet is trash. Okay. And I hope the satellite internet companies don't at me, but we had satellite internet and it was complete trash. The leaves fell and the service went out. The wind blew. One drop of rain came down and we had no internet service, and I was trying to start a business. Opportunity. I would not say that Seymour, just from my experience, is the best place when it comes to, like, most people, as we already talked about, are commuting jobs. 70% of residents in Seymour are leaving to go to their job. So, side note on that. Income inequality, slightly down. It's a little bit under what the US median is. Jobs per worker has increased compared to 2015. High school graduation rate is also way up, 2015 to 2023. I have some side former education notes about that, but I'm going to stay off of it because if I start getting on it, I will never stop talking. So that's good. Graduation rate is up by almost 10%. That's an insane stat, actually. Age diversity, a little bit better compared to 2015. Now, let's talk about a little bit of politics. If you haven't guessed it already, Seymour has a presidential voting pattern of voting Republican. 76.7% Republican, 21.9% Democrat. Quality of life stats. So this is talking about general area compared to Sevier County in Tennessee. We're not that elevated. We sit in the valley compared to the mountains. Annual rainfall is actually less here than in Sevier County. Sevier County, slightly higher. More in the mountains, whatever. So a little bit more precipitation in Sevier County, and actually, though, Seymour is less than Tennessee overall. So Tennessee overall includes places like Nashville, Memphis, Chattanooga, and the Tri-Cities. So, just something to think about there. Annual snowfall is less than the Tennessee average, which I think people find this surprising, because we are so close to the mountains, but again, we are in the valley, and that shifts our weather a little bit. Days of full sun, 98 days. Average monthly temperatures. Average minimum temperature in January, 22 degrees, and the average max in January is 45. At the making of this video, I'm actually making this video in January of 2024, and we're in the middle of a snowstorm, and right now outside is 20 degrees. Gag me. It was like, or no, I think the low today is 7. Ugh, not normal. Average July temp, 65 degrees. Average July minimum temperature is 65. Average July maximum temperature is 85. Feels like 105. It is humid. We do have mosquitoes, and you will be sweaty. Okay. I think the humidity score is like 70-ish something. For context, it's a little bit lower than like what you have in Atlanta. It's lower than what you have in Savannah, Columbia, South Carolina. It's lower than that. So it is humid though. Like, it is stuffy. Okay, walkability. I wanted to just show you this. I know we talked a little about transportation, but I wanted to show you this walkability stat because walkability, it's not walkable here. And I don't know where AARP is saying like 5.12 trips. Where are you walking to? Your car and your driveway. I don't know. It's not walkable. We have Chapman Highway and we have double yellow single lane roads. You're not walking anywhere. And if you are, you're taking your own life in your own hand. Okay? Don't walk. Don't plan to walk. Don't even think about it. That is probably one of my biggest personal gripes about Seymour is, like, for example, if I want to run from my house, I have to get on a really seriously busy road that is sketchy as hell. Okay? And so in COVID, I was like, look alive, Haley, look alive, head on a swivel. So Don't like it for that reason. To ride our bikes, we gotta go somewhere. We ride our bikes through the yard in a 2-acre circle, but like we're not going on the streets on our bikes. It's not gonna happen. Okay, schools. So 2 school districts comprise what we have access to in Seymour. That's Sevier County and Blount County. Sevier County rated as a B score overall, and Blount County also rated as a B. Now, the high schools, so Seymour has like Seymour Intermediate, Seymour Elementary, blah, 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 Seymour High. And then the Blount County schools they don't have like a Seymour Middle, blah, blah, blah. So the high school is Heritage. I've actually been in Heritage High School. I know people that used to work at Heritage High School. I've worked with people that worked at Heritage High School, multiple actually people. And then Seymour High, I don't know as much about. I know slightly. I know friends that graduated from there. I have a friend whose daughter went there, other friends whose kids have gone there, and I've met an Algebra 2 teacher there. But anyways, I know a bit more about what's happening in Blount County versus Sevier County schools just from my work at Knox County. But that being said, those are your 2 districts, both of them overall a grade of B. I do want to point out when you're looking at stats for Seymour High School versus Heritage High School, look at the scores and make your own assessment. So Seymour High School, overall rank of a B. Heritage High School has a rank of a B-. I will say that Heritage High School, they've given their resources and facilities a D. That building is old. And actually, I've been in there several times and I didn't walk in there like, oh, this is horrible. But it is an old building. Okay. Seymour High, they're high schools, So proficiencies of reading and math, 51% proficient in reading, 28% proficient in math at Seymour. And then you've got lower scores at Heritage High School for both of those lines. Graduation rate at Seymour High School, 92% graduation rate. At Heritage, slightly lower at 94%. So take a look at these stats, compare and contrast. ACT scores a little bit higher at Seymour. SAT scores a little bit higher at Seymour High. Interestingly, Seymour High School has less AP enrollment, which to me means that it's not as pushed and or it's not as available. Because let's face it, the more availability of AP classes you have, the more teachers you have, the larger the school. So for example, Heritage High School serves 1,300 students. Seymour serves 694. So be careful with that AP stat because, again, an AP class is another prep for a teacher, which is more load. And you don't just add AP classes that you cannot fill. So my guess about that stat is that Heritage High School has more AP classes available because they have a larger school, which means they can have a larger diversity of available classes. So I wouldn't necessarily put too much stock in that AP enrollment because even if you just think 10% of 694 is about 69 students, whereas 15%, it's double the size, right? So just consideration for that. I understand it's a percentage of the total population, but I'm sure that Heritage has more options available when it comes to AP classes. Okay. A couple more things really quick that I wanted to get to when you're looking at housing in Seymour, what you can expect to see. So I did a brief sample, a very quick and dirty. I just pulled how many current listings are in Seymour right now as we speak. 42 total listings. That's not the point. I'm just using that because I pulled it as a sample size to talk with you about some stats. So 55% of homes in Seymour currently listed have a seasonal or full-time mountain view. So that's pretty good. You can expect a mountain view in about half of the properties listed for sale. 3-bed, 2-bath minimum home size. About 76% of current listings, 32 out of the 42 currently listed, have a 3-bed, 2-bath home or half an acre or more. 52% of the listings shown. So 22 out of 42 homes described to have a level lot. Now that is super subjective, just like a mountain view. That's literally someone's opinion. About 64% of listings. Public water, 79%. So if there's not public water, it's going to be on a well or a shared well. So the majority have public water at 79%. But what about sewer? The majority have septic tanks, 88%. So side note on that, if you must have public sewer, Seymour's probably not going to be for you. It doesn't make sense. The houses are too spread out. It's just there's not. Well, and you've also got a 2-county. I mean, it's just complicated, right? Probably a septic tank if you're looking in Seymour. Utility gas. People either hate gas, love gas, can't live without it. Only 12 of the 42, or 29% of total listings, had public gas available. So that's another thing to think about. They are probably using Sevier County Utility, SCUD, for that natural gas. So just want to point that out to you. It is not available where I live. We cannot get gas, even though like just literally down the road, you can. How old are the houses? So I pulled just 2015 and newer. So under 10 years. I'm making this in 2024, the very beginning of 2024. So 2015 or newer, 7 out of 42, about 17% of homes construction, or not new construction, are 2015 built or newer. So that's not a huge percentage. I just want to point that out as well. Again, that's a brief snapshot just to give you an idea of what you can expect if you're looking for real estate in the Seymour area. Okay, so that is what it is like to live in the Seymour area. I hope this has been helpful. I hope this has given you some insight, some ideas, some things to consider whether or not you're considering Seymour or other areas in East Tennessee in general. You know what I'm saying. That being said, if you have questions, let me know. Let me know your thoughts and insights in the comments. If you want more information like this, as always, please let me know. Click subscribe. I'm Haley Jones, and I'll see you on the next video. Okay, so now that we've gone through some stats, let's hear some personal opinions. When I say some personal opinions, we're going to talk to my husband and myself about our thoughts about Seymour in general, because we live here. What does he think? Where does he go to eat? Is there shopping, etc.? What about the water? What does he think? So let's dive in and listen to that. Shay?
Yes.
If someone asks you, what is it like to live in Seymour, what would you say?
It's wonderful.
What do you mean? Okay, if you were to rate it 1 out of 10, 1's the worst place, 10 is the best place, what would you say?
Getting a little up in my business.
Okay, fine.
I don't really want to put all that out there.
Okay, you grew up in South Knox.
I like Seymour.
Okay, but did you think... Stop messing with stuff on my... He's messing with stuff on my desk. When you grew up in South Knoxville, did you know Seymour existed?
Yeah. Try that in the road. It's right there.
I grew up in West Knoxville, never heard of it. Okay, so there's Kroger.
There's more than that, but there's one to me and it's Kroger's.
Okay, got it. What about
I think there's one more.
Eating out in Seymour? Okay.
What, do you like fast food? Are you talking about eating out like that?
Yeah, you got Petro's, Bojangles, Zaxby's, Taco Bell, KFC, Burger King,
Linders.
McDonald's, Wendy's, Subway, Domino's, Papa John's. Craven Wings is here. Palancho's is here.
You're naming them. Wow. Good job.
1873. We've
We've
been.
not tried that one.
There's some others. The local eatery.
Mm-hmm.
We often travel. Well, we always travel outside of Seymour to eat, except on a rare occasion. Mm-hmm. Rare occasion. Okay, what about shopping? There's not. Like you have to go to downtown or Knoxville or Sevierville. Blah blah blah. Gyms. There's one.
Oh yeah, you go to one.
I go to the
Obviously,
one.
I don't go to one.
Work out anytime Seymour. Shout out to you. What about like convenience to different areas?
Well, you're like kind of midway between, like, you know, stuff to do in Pigeon Forge or Sevierville and Pigeon Forge area, and like Knoxville. So you're kind of like,
yeah, you're central to those things.
Yeah.
I see the map that I'm going to provide.
Mm-hmm.
Waterfront. What's the closest water frontage?
Oh. Knoxville's probably a little closer.
Tennessee River ish.
Maybe. I don't know. It's probably very similar.
Lake wise, if you're thinking of lakes,
places
it'd
we
be
would go
Douglas.
to.
Yeah.
it's very similar in driving time.
Right. So Tennessee River not too far, Douglas Lake not too far. We had a camper on Douglas Lake. We used to drive there. What's your take on availability of places to get good coffee?
Well, if you like a Starbucks coffee, that's not too far. But if you like just like a good Pilot or Wiggles or something, that's not too far. There's a Starbucks in the Food City up in Seymour.
That's true.
Which I don't never go into there. I'm always going to Kroger's.
Yeah.
But I feel like if that was in the Kroger's, that'd be a good idea too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
There's also like a random.
There's a random little
up.
small one here and there, but
we haven't had the best luck with. Yeah. So, anyways, I feel like
there's
coffee
one on that
availability.
Scribble's really good, but
She's talking about Dutch Brothers.
You're not getting nothing within the.
It's not like
miles,
bougie
like
coffee shops. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Because even the Starbucks is 7 minutes from our house in South Knoxville, Tennessee.
Well, it's still close though.
Yeah. Anything you would tell the people if someone's considering moving to Seymour? What would you say?
Yeah, if you want kind of out of the city but not too far, that's a plus. Access, to reasonable drives to mountains or lakes, that's pretty good. If you like Sevierville, like Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg, it's pretty close. Shopping wise, if you don't want to mess with the Pigeon Forge stuff, it's not a good area for shopping. Like, I don't know where to go get clothes.
Yeah, you go to Knoxville.
Like, where do you go?
Yeah.
You can't even go to downtown Knoxville. You gotta go further than that.
Yeah, you go to REI.
I go
Old Navy.
Let me tell my business. God.
I mean, you're wearing Patagonia right now. This is from Apricot Lane. Shout out to Apricot Lane. That's in West Knoxville. So West Knoxville,
Delete.
West Knoxville. Anyways, he can't stop fidgeting with stuff on my desk. Anyways, thank you for your time, Mr. Jones. It's time for you to go. We appreciate you.